space weather. How much do you know about it? I know absolutely nothing. And is it as reliable as the weather predictions here on Earth? Well, science engagement astronomer from the observatory, Dr. Daniel Kahnemer, joins us to tell us all about it. And I've got to say, he is the right person to call because he has just been nominated for a communications award in his field, which is fantastic. Can I get a round of applause?
Thank you very much.
Buddy, congratulations. What is it actually for?
Thanks. Yeah, so it's for a Science Communication Award, basically for all of the work I've done, including this, but the podcast that I run and some of the other work that I do for the observatory. And it just sort of celebrates communication and science and technology in South Africa.
And you're awesome at it, dude. You have awoken in me a love of not just space, but of science. And I would imagine it's the same for a lot of people. So thoroughly deserved. So kudos to you, my friend. Well done. Now you're going to have to put that to the test, and you're going to have to communicate to me what space weather is. In fact, how can there be weather in a vacuum? What causes it? What is it?
Yeah, so it's not quite a vacuum, actually. So space weather, as we talk about it from Earth, is essentially particles from the sun interacting with our atmosphere. When we talk about weather on Earth, we're basically talking about the lowest 20 kilometers of the atmosphere. The atmosphere gets less and less dense as it goes higher and higher up. There's still some atmosphere hundreds of kilometers away from Earth. Now, from the sun, there's a constant stream of highly charged particles coming off the sun. It isn't just giving off light, and those particles interact with the upper parts of our atmosphere, and they cause space weather.
All right, so what are those phenomena? What are some of the things that we see in the sky and beyond as a result of the space weather?
So some of the most exciting ones are aurora. So you've all probably heard of aurora at the northern and southern poles. You get these streams of particles coming in from the sun. They're excited by the atmosphere, and they let off light, sort of green or red light, in these beautiful arrays of light which come in at the poles. And that's something called space weather. So that's quite a nice consequence of space weather. But some of the consequences can be not so nice. Because a lot of our satellites are sitting in the upper atmosphere, in the upper hundreds of kilometers. When the sun has highly charged particles interacting with that part of the atmosphere, it can disrupt the communications with these satellites. So our GPS satellites and things are at risk of space weather. And if there's really bad space weather, so if there's a big event on the sun which interacts with the atmosphere really badly, there have even been cases where the entire electricity grid on Earth has been knocked out.
Wow. Sounds like something out of a movie, actually, quite nerve-wracking. We were privy quite recently to what I'm told is a coronal mass ejection that was observed on Monday on the sun. What is a CME, and does this present any danger to the Earth?
Yeah, so coronal mass ejection it's a pretty big thing. Sometimes they're hundreds of times the size of the Earth.
Wow.
It's a big sort of plume of solar particles, or sun essentially, which gets ripped off the surface of the sun. And if one of those things ejects in our direction, then we get a huge stream of these charged particles coming straight towards us. And that can cause, in the best case scenario, spectacular aurora. In the worst case scenario, like I was saying, it can knock out the electricity grid, it can knock out satellites. These are very highly charged particles they interact with the magnetic field, they interact with the atmosphere, and they can cause quite a lot of disruption.
Can they turn people into superheroes?
That remains to be tested by science.
I'm glad you didn't close me off there completely. Some wonderful stuff. I'm certainly going to be looking up with a fresh pair of eyes, and I'm sure we'll get more updates to follow. But thank you so much. And as always, thank you for the role that you play on our show, and well done again for being nominated as you have. It really is thoroughly deserved and warranted. You do a fantastic job, my friend. Well done, and thank you.
Thank you, man. And thanks for always having me. It's a pleasure to be on here.
As we've heard, not in immediate danger, but there are things happening just around our planet that we really do need to be aware of. So good to have someone like Dr. Daniel Kahneman there to give us a front row seat.